Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, from Mercan, Portugal, and Chris office to all business partners and international investors from Nomad Gate. And welcome everyone back to check out our latest product in the investment immigration market, the Greece Golden Visa Program. The non-stop journey of Mercan is not only in Portugal. By the end of last year, we established Mercan Greece office to seek for new opportunities under the Golden Visa Program. And let's check out what's special about Mercan Greece today with me. So back in 2014, Law number 4251, Article 20B, sets out the terms and conditions for foreign citizens to obtain the 5 years residence permit subject to permanent renewal through means of property purchase. To make it simple, you can buy the property at minimum threshold between 250,000 euro up to 500,000 euro, depending on the location, and you can apply for the Greek resident permit. The resident permit is renewable as long as the real estate property must remain in the full ownership of the applicant. Through this program, the applicant can also sponsor the spouse, children under 21 years old, and the parents to have the permanent residence permit, which is renewable every 5 years. However, following the new Immigration Code Law 5038 became effective this April 2024, all the price is increased between 400,000 euro to 800,000 euro for the property purchase. This change of law also gives a transitional period for people who make down payment of 10% deposit by the end of August 2024 to secure the previous criteria, and they can make the final purchase by 31st of December 2024, or they can switch to another choice of property no later than 30th of April 2025. Now, let's turn back to the Article 20B. Besides the option of the property purchase, the Greek government also grants the 5-year resident permit to third country nationals who has made an agreement with a minimum term of 10 years for the lease of hotel accommodation, or they can make a time-sharing agreement pursuant to the provisions of law. And the minimum value of the real estate property and the contractual consideration of the lease of hotels will be at 250,000 euro. And this is the sector that Mercan Group specializes in, the hotel industry. So let's all together find out what's special about Mercan Hotel in Greece, another route for you to apply a renewable 5-year residence permit for yourself and your family members. I'm welcoming back the 18 guest speaker today with me, Mr. Jerry Morgan, the President and CEO of Mercan Group of Companies, Mr. Jordi Vilanova, Vice President of Mercan Group of Companies, Mr. Theodoros Kiosoukis, President of Mercan Greece, and Mrs. Ines Koshtamura, General Manager of IAS Legal and Consulting Services Company. And don't forget me, Jasmine Dang. I'm the Global Business Development Director, your host today. So during the presentation of all the guest speakers, feel free to send us the questions and we will address your concern at the Q&A section. And don't forget, the Q&A is the most exciting and informative part. So now, leaving my part to the Vice President of Mercan Group, Jordi Vilanova, for your introduction of Mercan. Jordi.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. So thank you, Jasmine. Thank you all for the session today. Today, I'm just going to very briefly talk about the Mercan journey. If you can get into the next slide, please. So the Mercan journey started in 1989, but today actually what I wanted to reflect is on the journey that we had here in Portugal and the 3 key drivers of our success in Portugal. The first one, undoubtedly, is the 4,000 investors that have trusted in Mercan for the Golden Visa in Portugal. The second driver of our success in Portugal is this, or are the 600 colleagues we have in the Mercan Group that basically have been the source for making it happen what we have today. And the third source of our, or the third driver of our success are the unique partnerships we have with the brands that you see: Marriott, Hilton, IHG, Wyndham, Hard Rock, and historic hotels of the world. And just to go into a bit more detail of these partnerships, if I can have the next slide, please. So today with Marriott in Portugal, we have already 2 operating hotels, and we have 7 hotels which are under development. And the next slide will show our partnership with Hilton, with 3 operating hotels and 5 hotels which will be open soon. And with IAG, Intercontinental Holiday Inn, the next slide, please. We have today 1 hotel open and 4 more hotels. 3 of them will be open this summer. And last but not least, the next slide are the partnerships with Hard Rock, with Accor, and with historic hotels of the world. So this is what today we're reflecting on in terms of our journey of success in Portugal as a kickstart for our journey of success in Greece. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi, for your presentation about Mercan Group and Mercan Properties. And heading up, let's hear a Greek person talking about his own country, Greece, and what Greece has to offer international nomad investor. So, Mr. Theodoros, the president of Mercan Greece, I will leave it to your hand.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to Greece. I'm very honored from Mercan, specifically from Jerry and Jordi, for the honor they gave me to continue their journey to Greece. Greece is an excellent country, well known, with huge history, culture, and a lot to give to the people that they visit them. The residency, if I can have the next slide, please. The citizens of Greece, they visit Greece, they will benefit being part of the European Union. Greece entered the European Union late 80s, and it is now in the core of the European Union and the common currency, member of the euro. It has become a trustworthy country after passing through a lot of big crises. Now it is standing on again, powerful, ready to receive and welcome all the new people, the tourists, and the other people that want to live in a safe country. The benefits that coming from the residency. Everybody that has the residency permit has a visa waiver for all the Schengen area. Through the private insurance cover that they have access to the public and the private hospitals. The people of Greece are well known for their hospitality, always used to be in the crossroads. All people from all over the world are welcomed, wherever they are, from East, West, from Africa. You can get the application will last, the process lasts around a year in order to be approved. And after that, will give you a lot of benefits, like having access to the private and public educational sector, and being able, of course, to live and stay in Europe or in Greece. The weather, Mediterranean, sun and sea. We have many sunny days that everybody can enjoy, even in the winter period. Very good connections with all of the world, all the big cities, Athens, Thessaloniki, and the main touristic destinations like Corfu, Crete, Rhodes, are well connected with main international airlines, and they have a very good and fast access from their countries to Greece. Specifically, we can say that we will decided to start our our trip to Greece from Corfu. Corfu we considered as the gem of our islands, a unique island, totally different from everything that you know from the pictures that you see. Corfu is the island that has been affected by the culture and the history of Italy and Greece. It's a green island at the northwestern corner of Greece, just 2 hours flight from Frankfurt, 3 hours and 15 minutes from Heathrow, easy to access and visit and spend beautiful time, peaceful time, swim to the crystal clear waters of the sea of Corfu. This is the place where we started our journey and we will continue. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to Greece. Welcome home.
Thank you, Theodoros, for your presentation about Greece. And Greece is not just a few islands. Indeed, it has 6,000 islands, and among them, 200 is inhabited. Beautiful sea and mountain, cost of living is cheap, 300 sunny days in a year. Greece also has a golden visa program for international investors. Now let's take a look at Greece golden visa numbers and its procedure with Mrs. 𝐖𝐄𝐁, the General Manager of IAS Legal and Consulting Services Company. So Ines.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Great being with you here, talking about a new program. So jumping right in, the Golden Visa program in Greece, you can see here the program, the investment amount. So we are still on the 250,000 euros to get the residency stay. In this case, we don't have, like Theodoros said, the holder of the golden visa, the residency permit, will have access to the Schengen area. It allows investors and their children under 21 years old and their parents to also, via the one investment, be part of the process. There's no minimum stay requirements in Greece, and like many other programs in the EU, there's no requirement to come to Greece and stay a minimum time, and you get a residency card every 5 years. So your first card and following cards will have, according to today's legislation, a minimum timeline of 5 years, a duration of 5 years. So all good news, a very attractive program. Exactly. Next slide. So by December 31st, 2023, Greece issued very close to 30,000 residence permits to investors and their families. And as we explained, the Golden Visa program there gives you European residency with, of course, immediate benefits and a minimum investment amount lower than any other program currently in the European Union. And quite simple, quite straightforward, not a lot of documents, not a lot of complexity, not a lot of bureaucracy. So it's quite standard, quite simple, and very, very interesting compared to other countries that you have in Europe at the residencies, both from the investment side as to the documents and the lack of bureaucracy and simplicity involved. So yeah, next slide. Okay. Here is the statistics. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, just to show you, I guess, that this is not only a very popular program, but very well established, right? You can see here a very relevant track record. The official data that we have for desegregation goes from 2014 to 2021. Of course, now we have 2024, but those numbers aren't although they are public, they're not made public in the same website as all the other information on golden visas. So you have here the official stats up until 2021. As we explained, we still have the 250 option available. It won't be available for much longer. That's part of the conversation moving forward. But like I explained, very interesting, very simple, and very cost efficient at this stage. Okay. So maybe the one before. Yeah. The next one, yeah. Perfect. The one before had the requirements. We can just jump right into the workflow. So IIS is currently providing front office support to the Greek lawyers. So we are here just assisting the Greek lawyers that will help with the application, that will support the application. But basically, I'm here to give you an overview on what will happen when you decide to apply. So we will have onboarding. So this first stage requires that the investor signs a preliminary agreement similar to a reservation agreement and makes a down payment of 10% of the amount, minimum 10% of the amount of the investment, meaning 25K, up until August 31st. So we still have quite a few weeks. We have around 8 weeks to go. And the process that we have set up is quite simple. So you will sign the service agreement, pay the fees. We will need a few information regarding KYC and your personal data and the passport of the main investor. And that's it. Once you send us these documents, you will receive the investment letter where the amounts required are described, and you can use that to support any transfers to the developer's account. We will then send the preliminary agreement. Like I said, it's like a reservation agreement, and we only require the simple signature of the preliminary agreement and the sending of a scan. With this, the Greek lawyers will give you the go-ahead to transfer the minimum amount. We have here 3 possible payments: 10%, which is the minimum, 50% or 100%. Basically, it's the minimum of 10%. If for any reason it is convenient to the investor to make a higher transfer, that isn't a problem at all. One of the things that it's important to say about this initial transfer is that it is allowed, and there are means to make this payment via credit card. So you can do it, and the Greek law has a special provision about this. So you can do it via a normal bank transfer to the developer's account, or using a link that will be made available to the investors, to the clients, where they can just click on the link, make the payment via credit card. And like I said, the Greek government has a special provision in the law that allows this payment form. It's a great way to, if we're close to the deadline, or if you have points on your credit card, or if it's convenient for you for any other reason, you can make the payment, the initial payment, via credit card. So after this, a compliance check is done, and everything should be okay. So after this, the investor already signing and making the payment, the investor is already in. So we just need to do this by August 31st. Now, after that, either immediately or in September, you will receive, as you wish, the investor will receive the legal package. So you will sign a power of attorney, you will sign the framework agreement, that is basically an umbrella agreement, a general agreement with all the terms and conditions, the rental program agreement, and all of these agreements will be signed before a Portuguese lawyer and apostilled in Portugal. Now, what does this allow? This allows to avoid going to the embassies, going to the consulates, or going to a notary abroad and having the documents apostilled. So if you sign it before a Portuguese lawyer and we have it apostilled in Portugal, it will save all that time and all that money and all that hassle, and you will be able to kind of bypass those steps that would be mandatory otherwise. Okay. After that, you just need to send the legal package plus the preliminary agreement that you signed before to get notarized and apostilled. Okay, so it's very simple, the process. It doesn't require trips to embassies like I explained and everything else. We can do it like one-stop shop. And that's kind of the added value that we have. All of this, of course, was verified by the Greek lawyers. We're very aligned with them. They kind of defined the procedures. So we're here basically to support under the guidance of the lawyers and the legal advisors in Greece. Moving forward. Perfect. So next steps, you'll need, after the signing of the legal package, you will need a Greek tax ID number, which can be requested online just with a scan of the powers of the power of attorney that you send and your passport. And then we will get into the payment of the remaining amount and the execution of the deed of fractional ownership. You'll be acquiring, and I think that will be explained further down the line, you will be acquiring weeks in a hotel, and this acquisition will be formalized via a deed. This deed will be executed in Greece by a lawyer that will have received the power of attorney that you have signed, that will authorize that lawyer to buy in this case the weeks in your behalf. Now, this deed will be executed, of course, before a Greek notary. The deadline for the execution of this deed is 31st of August. So basically what we're saying now is you'll be able to complete the first step by 31st of December. So you'll be able to complete the first step up until the end of August, and you'll be able to complete the second step up until the end of December. So August and December, this is where we are. We still have a lot of time, especially for the last part that will be concluded by the end of the year. Now, one point that people tend to confuse a bit, and it's important to explain, is the submission. So we have deadlines for the payment of the 10%. We have deadlines for the payment of, for the execution of the deed. We don't have deadlines for the submission. So we are interested, of course, in doing this as soon as possible, but imagine that you get in at the last moment of August, and then it takes some time, and we can only sign the deed in December. We have time to submit you afterwards. So the major deadlines that you need to consider are 31st of August for the down payment and 31st of December for the execution of the deed, the signing of the deed that the lawyer in Greece will do on your behalf. After this, we will get your passports, you will get your POA, then we will have here a procedure for the signing and the legalization of the POAs. We will need health insurance for all applications. For all applicants, we will also support you there, and we will need some civil documents for submission. One important thing, unlike many other programs, Greece, and another proof that they're very uncomplicated, does not require criminal certificate, nor does it have any restrictions regarding citizenship. So they accept citizens from all countries, and they do not require that you present your criminal certificate. Okay? Moving to the next one. Finishing here with the timeline. This is, of course, an estimated timeline, but you can check from week 1 to the end of the year exactly everything that needs to happen. And we believe that if the documents are available, clients can get in on week 1, be onboarded, sending of the legal package. On week 1, we'll receive the fees, pay the minimum amount, sign the preliminary agreement. So basically, the first step can be done in 1 week, okay, following the procedure that we have. We will then ship the original documents to the Greek lawyers. The Greek lawyers will request a tax ID number. By December 31st, we have the payment of 90%, signing of the final notarial agreement, plus all the contracts related to the hotels. And after the deed of fractional ownership, submission of the golden visa, 1 to 2 weeks after submission, we will have the pre-approval, and approximately 12 months biometric appointment in Greece. The investor and family are required to go to Greece to do the biometric appointments. And approximately after 45 days, there will be the issuance of the residency card. Of course, we know that the 12 months, it's an extended deadline. We believe it's going to be possible to do it quicker. It's lawyers being lawyers and a bit conservative, let's call it like that. Next one. So I guess that's all for me now. And
Thank you, Ines, for your presentation. And now let's welcome Mr. Jerry Morgan with his sharing of the latest 4-star hotel project in Corfu, the beautiful island of Greece. Jerry?
Okay, thank you, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here today. What we're going to do is talk about our very first project under the Greek Golden Visa program, and it's located in the island of Corfu. Change, please. So as I mentioned, the island of Corfu is a unique island, and as Theodoros mentioned, a very famous island that's located between the countries of Italy and Greece. And the island of Corfu is in the Ionian Sea, and this is a beautiful area with fantastic beaches, rich history, and beautiful coastline. So it really is a beautiful island location. Next. So some of the unique tourist attractions on the island of Corfu. One is the Canal d'Amour, which is 20 minutes from Car. Then you have the Cap d'Estes, which is another beautiful beach. Then you have the old Corfu town, which is an old historic town, which is 55 minutes away. That's very touristic and very historic. Then we have the famous monastery, 𝐵𝐄𝐂𝐃𝐍, and you have the Nymphes waterfall, and you have the Antinioti lagoon. So these are some of the beautiful touristic locations on the island of Corfu. Now, as I mentioned, Corfu is located in the Ionian Sea, and it's an island, a large island, and has a rich history. So actually, it goes back all, as I say, historically, it was named after Hebe, who was the daughter of Zeus. So it goes way, way back, and the heritage is really woven in Greek mythology, and it's quite historical. It includes actually the devastation of the city in 32 BC by the Roman Emperor Octavian. Obviously, it's been rebuilt, and it's a beautiful historic, touristic, one of the top touristic islands in the whole country of Greece, and this is where we fortunately were able to get our first project. Here's a geographic outline of the area. As you can see, our project is right on the beach. It's 𝐼𝐄𝐓 Beach, and it's in the village of 𝐼𝐄𝐓. This particular resort is on the ocean, it's on the sea, and it's 57 minutes from the Corfu airport. And here's an overview of the resort. It's kind of a vertical resort, and it goes all the way down to the sea. As you can see, there's going to be tennis courts. There's going to be 3 outdoor swimming pools. And this is, the hotel itself already exists. So this is a picture of how it will look once we add the additional 100 rooms. But right now, you have a 160-room hotel already built, already operating, and quite frankly, usually almost always full. In fact, we had some customers go down there last week wanting to stay at the hotel to visit it, and the hotel was sold out. So that's very positive, is you're buying into investment that already exists. So there's no construction risk. There's no risk of a project happening or not happening. This project is real. It's on the beach, and it's in a wonderful location. So this is very strong from this point of view. Next. So the resort itself, it's existing 160 rooms, as I mentioned. It's on the beach, and it's a 3-star right now. We are going to convert it to a 4-star Wyndham resort, and we will add 100 more rooms to the property over the next 2 years. So it will eventually be a 260-room Wyndham 4-star resort on the sea. So it'll be a great location. In terms of amenities, we'll have all-day dining, we'll have specialty restaurants, poolside bar and restaurant. You'll have your mini bar lounge, you'll have your spa and gym, your children's area, your meeting rooms, your paddle courts, and a number of recreational resort areas, recreational activity areas. Next, please. Here's an overview of it'll be a resort. This is your reception area. It's going to be located, as I mentioned, right in the village of 𝐷𝐻𝐂𝐑𝐿, and it will be located on the sea. So this is a picture of the lobby area as it will look once the renovation's done. Then you'll have your bar and restaurant, and the bar and restaurant will actually be located beside the sea. So you will have a great location by the sea. We will have seafront swimming pools, as you can see here. Very nicely done. The next one. The rooms will be typical rooms. You will have a number of them will have balconies overlooking the sea. Then you'll have another private pool that's available for your relaxation. And the hotel will have a spa and relaxation center, so that will be part of the resort. Now, again, here's an overview of the hotel. As you can see, it's a great location. It will be right beside the village of 𝐷𝐻𝐂𝐑𝐿. And what's good about that is you not only have your resort, but you have the village where you can go spend time going to restaurants, looking around the local community, and you're not just stuck at a hotel. Quite often resorts are in the middle of nowhere, but this hotel is actually very nicely located beside the village with other activities for you to consider. Now, the investment for this project under the Golden Visa program is 250,000 euros. It's going to be a 4-star Wyndham resort. It presently has 160 rooms, and we'll be adding another 100 rooms over the next 2 years. So we'll eventually be a 260-room hotel. Now, the ownership here under the Golden Visa program is it will be fractional ownership, which qualifies under the Golden Visa program. And we will do a typical Mercan guaranteed buyback, where at different points in time, you can ask for your money back and will be provided within 6 months. And this project also gives you complimentary 7 nights per year for you to enjoy. And we just started offering this project now, so it's available and available. Next slide. As I mentioned, this is a fractional ownership, and it's structured where each investor will have 8 weeks per year in a 5-star hotel, and the period of the investment or the timeshare is 40 years. So this gives you access to the property for over 40 years. The hotel itself will be a Wyndham hotel, and as I mentioned, it's 160 rooms, 3-star existing. It will be upgraded to a 4-star Wyndham resort starting in the fall of this year. And here, just a vertical shot, as you can see, this is the existing hotel, and you can see it's right on the beach. If you go back the slide. If you can, as you can see, there's a swimming pool and there's the beach right in front of the hotel. So it's really prime real estate. You're buying, if you're investing in Greece, you have to be on the sea. You really, if you're not near the sea, the value is just considerably less. So as I mentioned, go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, your investment is 250,000. So what we've tried to do is to think about our investors and try and give them something that's attractive. So the returns from year 1 to 5 total 10,000 per year, which is 50,000. What we're doing is giving you back that 50,000 right up front. So you're investing 250, you're getting back your returns for years 1 to 5 right up front. And we will pay you the full 50,000. The taxes on this only need to be paid in years 6 to 10, and so year 1 will be paid in year 6, year 2, and year 7, and that will be taken from future returns. So you're really getting a full 50,000 back, which makes this probably the most attractive product on the market now. Now, what we also do is we give an annual return from year 6 onwards, which will vary between 3 and 5%, depending on the success of the property, which we're very optimistic, of course, once all the renovations are completed. Next, please. Now, as I mentioned, we have a guaranteed buyback. So you're investing $250, you get 50 back. So you have 200,000 in. If you, after 10 years, if you decide this is not for you, you get 250,000 plus the returns you've accumulated. If you stay to year 15, you get 275,000 back. If you stay to year 20, you get 300,000 back plus your returns every year. And if you stay to year 25, you get 325,000 back. So this is all triggered by the investor. They decide. Now, as I mentioned, this is a 40-year timeshare. So if you want to go beyond 25 years, that's fine. We can allow for that. On a mutually agreeable basis, we can negotiate up to 40 years, depending on your personal situation. So it's a tremendous opportunity where you actually, you can value the value of what you're investing in. So you have your guaranteed buyback at the end. So it's very attractive. Next. Great. So that's just an overview of the project. I think what we'd like to do now is to move into some of the questions. Jasmine?
Thanks, Jerry, for sharing with all the business partners and the international investor an exciting option about the investment for 𝐏𝐑 Golden Visa program. Well, there's a lot of information provided by the guest speakers today, so let's take a 2-minute break before going to the most exciting part of this webinar, the Q&A sections. So I'll be right back. Grab your tea, coffee, and be ready. Hello, everyone. I'm back, and I'll just finish with all the questions that you sent to our team. So there are a total of 20 or more than 20 questions that I'm trying to monitor today, and hope that all of our guest speakers can be able to address everyone, all the questions that you are concerning. So let's start with the first questions. And this is the common questions that I receive from everyone worldwide. Is Mercan product fractional ownership structure with a hotel lease agreement eligible for the Golden Visa program? So these questions, you might need to help everyone. Ines?
Hello? Hello? Yes.
Hi, we're hearing you.
Hi. Okay.
You want me to repeat the questions?
No, perfect. I heard you. I wasn't sure you were hearing me. Okay. So the Mercan product is, thank you for the question, is unequivocally compliant with the Greek legislation once conditions are met. These conditions entail acquiring, through the fractional ownership agreement, the right to use a specific unit in the hotel for specific weeks every year for a period of 40 years. Okay, so with this, the amount of 250, the acquisition under the fractional ownership structure and signing of the fractional ownership deed, there is no doubt that the program complies with the demands of the Golden Visa program in Greece.
Thank you, Ines, for your clarification. So coming back again with me a little bit on the processing time. So as of current, the average processing time is 18 months. Do you see a trend, a process delaying or accelerating toward the end of this year and the next year?
Okay, so currently we see no trend indicating any significant delays. The program is actually known in Europe and in the world for being one of the fastest programs in Europe. So we have quite a lot of experience working with other programs, and indeed Greece is quite efficient here. We do anticipate an increase in demand. I mean, this happens every time a government changes the conditions. But we do not expect a big delay, since they are very prepared for this. And Jasmine, as I explained, there is no deadline to submit the applications, just to make the investment, you know. So unlike other programs where you need to submit your application by 8x, here you don't have that. So people will have a bit more time, and this will not create the backlogs that we usually, what we anticipate. It won't create the backlogs that you usually see in other programs, like for instance, Portugal. We had a deadline for submission, right? Here, there is no deadline for submission, just the investment. Then the investor can get the documents, present the documents, collect the legalizations and everything. So we don't see, honestly, any trends in terms of delays.
Thank you, Ines. So coming to the next questions about the project. How is the occupancy rate in the Corfu regions? Can you elaborate more about the current situation of the hotel? So I would like to invite Mr. Theodoros to answer the question.
The hotels the majority of the hotels in Corfu operate from early April to end of October. The occupancy during this season is close to 80–83%. The market works with the largest tour operators. Majority of them, more than 30%, are coming from UK, and the rest from Germany, France, Poland, and other European countries.
So the current hotel has 160 rooms, and the plan is to expand another more than 100 rooms. So how long do you think it takes for the refurbishment of existing room and the zone, and also the plan for the expansion?
The hotel, before we signed with Wyndham, they have inspected the area. They like the hotel a lot. We're talking for a slight decoration and some small rearrangements of some very big apartments. These will be ready by the early April 2025. The expansion of the extra 100 rooms will expect that will last 2 years.
So we are expecting by 2026 the plan.
By the end of 2026, we'll have the extra 100 rooms. But again, the applications will not be affected. They are not connected with expansion. This is
so
over and above. This is over and above, and the only thing that we are trying to do is to optimize, to have economy of scales, and increase the profitability of the project.
Thank you.
Also add the amenities that are missing currently from the hotel.
Thank you, Theodoros. So the plan is to call the investment from international investor, and the investor will own 8 weeks per year, have at least by the hotel to receive a return of the first 5 years, the guaranteed return of 50,000 euro. Is this amount subject to the income tax? I think for this question, I would like to hear the answer from Jerry Morgan.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So what the return from years 1 to 5 is $10,000 per year. And we basically combine that together to give a one lump sum payment of $50,000 to the investors right at the beginning. Now, this $10,000 each year is taxable at a rate of 15%. So year one, 15% tax of $1,500 is only paid in year 6. So year 2 is paid in year 7, year 3 is paid in year 8, year not, vice versa. So it's really a future tax of $1,500, which we just subtract from a future return. So there's no cash flow effect to the investor at all, but it is taxed at a rate of 15%.
Thank you, Jerry. Follow up with the same questions, but a little bit add on extra from maybe an American potential investor from Nomad. The question he just asks us is, would the 50,000 euro upfront return taxable in the USA?
The 15% taxable return, well, I'm not sure on the American tax rates. I can just attest to the Greek tax rate. It's 15%. Obviously, there will be a credit between the U.S. and Greece, but I cannot comment on what the U.S. tax rate would be.
So maybe for this matter, we will need to consult for the tax advisors. So we'll come back with a specific plan later for the USA investors. Okay. So let's coming to the next question. Starting from year 6, how the return is calculated. Jerry, may you explain more?
Yeah, there is a return from year 6 onwards, and it's really based on the total number of rooms, and it's based on the number of weeks that each investor owns, and the revenue that's generated from those weeks and those rooms. And then we deduct the operating costs related to those rooms, and that will generate a return to the investor.
So during the rent agreement is 25 years, right? Can they renew the contract afterward?
Pardon? Can
they renew the contract, the rent contract after 25 years? Because the rent,
as I mentioned, it's a 40-year timeshare agreement. We put exit milestones at year 10, year 15, year 20, and year 25. Obviously, if the investor wants to go longer, I'm sure we would be amenable to work something out and try and find out a little bit more current information for the benefit of both parties to carry it into year 30, year 35, or even year 40. But to specify numbers for those so far in the future, it's not fair to either party. So yes, we're open to it. Can I put a number on it now? Probably not, because I think it's in everybody's interest that it's something that's dealt with in year 25 or maybe in year 20.
Okay, thank you. So I'll keep you with me for another questions, and it's very interesting from the investors concerned. How can you guarantee for the buyback at the higher return?
Well, I think what we tried to do is to put together something attractive for investors. And so, well, first off, it's very attractive when you invest $250 and you get back 50, so you're in for 200, and at year 10, we're giving you 250. So that alone, if you just look on a short time frame of 10 years, it's very attractive. But the longer you stay, we bump up the guaranteed buyback to account for the value, the time value, and the appreciation of the property. But separately, you're still earning annual returns from the variable portion. So there's two components you need to keep in mind. There's the buyback component, and there's also your annual variable income component. So there's always two components to your return.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. So the next question is, what if the hotel is sold? Will it impact the immigration application and the condition of the investment? So Ines, can you help me to answer the question?
Of course. So the hotel, so the owner of the weeks, those specific weeks in that specific unit, they belong to the investor. So the fact that the property is sold just means that it's sold with that lien associated to it. So should some other person buy this property from Mercan, they will be bound to respect both the rental agreement and the fractional ownership deed in place. So they will be bound to respect the fact that an investor owns 8 weeks over the year and that property and that specific room. So this will not affect any of the rights that the investor has over the property, nor the golden visa process.
Thank you, Ines. Coming to the 10th question, the investor has until 31st of August this year to invest with minimum amount of 250,000 euro. Starting September, will this category be increased? Theodore, can you help to explain it more about the future?
Nobody can foresee what will be the decision of the government. Definitely, the government wants to help and assist the development of the touristic sector in Greece, but we don't know. What we know now is that by the 31st of August, everybody who's interested in this offering has to participate and submit the advance, at least the advance payment, and secure the low ticket of 250,000. After August, end of August, this area jumps up to 800,000 investor.
Wow, that's a big leap. That's a big jump from 250,000 euros to 800.
It becomes the same with Athens, Santorini, Mykonos.
I see. So thanks for your sharing. So the best practice is to do it as soon as possible. So coming to the next question, does the Greek golden resident permit allow its holders to resign or settle in other EU countries? And can someone with the Greek resident permit stay indefinite elsewhere in Europe? Ines, can you help to clarify this concern?
Sure. The Greek golden visa offers the opportunity to live in Greece and access Greek public education for families, for instance, with children. It does not allow to reside in other UE countries. It does grant visa exemption to travel within the Schengen area. So basically, it's the same as other residency programs. What do you have? You have the possibility to live in Greece, right? You have the possibility to establish yourself there. Now, what gives you the power to live in other EU countries is being a citizen of a EU country. You're not a citizen, you hold a residency permit, so you do not have, like you could not have in any other residency program, the same rights as a citizen. This, of course, doesn't come from Greek law. This comes from the law of the European Union. So it's the same with all programs.
But for the residence permit increase, how long are you allowed to stay in another country in EU? When you have the
any other, like any other 90 days, right? Like any other residency permit.
So 90 days within 180 days, right? And then 180 days within 365 days.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. And another question is about the tax implications of the Greek golden visa. Another question, I think, from the maybe an investor that already had 2 good passports, because he mentioned about that. I want to understand the tax implications of the Greek golden visa, as well as the right associated with its free movement residency in all the EU and or Schengen. I have 2 good passports, so if I could choose my European residence, that might be great. So Ines, can you help to explain or maybe share some of your opinion?
Well, so one thing is having a residency permit, right? Another thing is being tax resident. These are 2 different things. So in this case, what we have is this investor has 2 passports and he would like to choose his European residency to pay taxes. Correct? So he needs to become a tax resident in Greece. Now, One thing that we need to do, a disclaimer, I'm a lawyer, we're not here to give tax advice. Each case is a case, and it should be looked at thoroughly if the investor decides that he wants to do this. In any case, you are allowed to reside full-time in Greece. You have access to healthcare, public services, and the education system. Now, if you reside full-time or the majority of the year in Greece, you will pay taxes in Greece. If not, certain taxes are bound to where they are earned. In this case, for instance, rental income, right? If you receive rents in Greece, the fact that you are not a tax resident in Greece doesn't exempt you from paying taxes, right? We know this. This is kind of the same throughout Europe, throughout the European Union. So in this case, if you are a resident, tax resident in Greece, you will pay taxes in Greece. If you are not a tax resident in Greece, then if you get rents, you will pay taxes in Greece. If not, then no. Right? So the decision that needs to be done is not, well, let's choose one residency, is do I want to be tax resident other than just resident in Greece, just having a residency permit? So that's the decision. And that decision requires a few more considerations. Now, in this case, under the fractional ownership agreement, like we explained, there are a few taxes that will be due. And the most relevant one will be the income tax over the rents, because like I said, that's independent of being tax resident or not. It comes from real estate in Greece, therefore it's taxed in Greece. The same in Portugal, the same in Spain, basically the same throughout the European Union. I'm not sure I answered the question, but I mean, feel free to ask anything else if you feel you should.
Okay, thank you, Ines. So I'll hold you with me for some other questions relating to the legal. So what is the government fees associated with the every 5-year long-term residency renewals, and what's the legal support fee that your companies charge?
Okay, so the residency fees, the state fees are 2,000 for main applicant and 150 per each family member, plus 16 euros for the issuance of each card. Okay, the fees for application in terms of legal fees, they will be divulged alongside the cost calculator. They will be included with that information. They are very competitive and below the market of what is practiced in Greece. We do benefit from economy of scale, being able to work with several countries in the European Union and facilitating the process. So we do have that into consideration.
Thank you, Ines. I'm still receiving a lot of questions right now. I think we're coming back to the question relating to the project. I will pick one of those here. Let me see. Is this a timeshare on ownership program? Meaning if I participate in the program, do I own the unit? So for these questions, Theodore or Jerry or Jordi, you want to answer?
I think Theodorus, go ahead.
You have the ownership of use, the specific room, which is written in the agreement that you sign. For the fractional ownership agreement, you have the right of use of the specific room. Something, if you will allow me to add here, this agreement, the fractional ownership agreement, is submitted and approved by the Greek National Tourist Organization, and after you sign it before also of the notary, it becomes a notary deed, as Ines explained earlier. So this is absolutely secure agreement. It's not just a one-to-one private agreement. It's a deed.
Thank you. Thank you. So coming to the next question, which is very interesting, that how can the investor choose the specific room?
First come, first served.
Okay, so first come, first served. Okay, thank you. Coming to the next question about the 50K, the 50,000 euro. When the client received the 50,000 euro, when do the client receive the 50,000 euro? And this will be sent to their account in Greece or their account elsewhere. So for this question, Jerry or Theodore?
I can answer it. So the 50,000 will be sent to the account that they inform us or designate that we should send it to. So obviously, if they want it in their Greek account, we'll put it in their Greek account. If they want it in their home country account, it could go to their home country account. It's really up to them.
Okay, thank you. And
if you allow me to add, it's not mandatory
Please.
to open a bank account in Greece.
Okay.
It's not mandatory to have a bank account in Greece.
Okay,
So if they want, fine.
wherever is convenient for the client. Okay, so talking about the whole fractional ownership agreement with the hotel lease, do Mercan Greece charge annual management fees, maintenance fees, and tax or other fees that will be deducted from the 3% or 5% estimated return starting from year 6, or the 3 or 5% return is net? I think this is a question that the client is interested in. The management fees. So, Theodore?
I'm not sure
I
if you
think Jerry has already responded to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question is. The management fee?
Yeah.
What
Is
are
there
the
any
expenses
annual
that
management fees or maintenance fees or tax or other fees will be deducted from a 3 to 5% return?
Yeah, the taxes that were due on year 1 of 1,500 euros will be paid in year 6, so that will be deducted from the return. The taxes of year 2 of 1,500 will be divided from the return of year 7, and onward and onward. So yes, we've pushed the taxes into the future, and it will come from future returns. So this frees up the 50,000 to really be a net number in the beginning in their pockets. So it's really structured to really benefit the investors as much as we could.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. So do you lose your residency status if you bought back before? Well, the question might be, do I lose my residency status if the unit is bought back before 40 years? So Ines, can you help to answer this question?
So the reason why people have the residency is they invested in the country, right? While the residency will be able to be kept as long as the investment is kept. Now, should the investor obtain a Greek passport, the residency will be cancelled because he will become a citizen, right? The same thing if the investor doesn't invest anymore, meaning sells back the position, doesn't own the weeks anymore, he will not be able to renew the residency. So what we're saying is, if on year 25 the investor decides to sell back the weeks, terminate the timeshare agreement, on the renovation for year 30, they will no longer be able to produce the deed that shows that they own those weeks. The weeks the investment is the reason why they have the residency permit. So yes, like any other investment, if you cease to possess that investment, and that is the cause to the residency permit, then you will no longer be able to renew it.
Okay, thank you, Ines. Coming to the last question before we end this webinar. And I will have Ines with me for the last questions. The Greece have the same language requirement as Portugal for the citizenship. Does this resident permit give you the right to live and work in Greece and other Schengen countries? Ines.
Yes, hello. So does it have the same requirements? The path to obtaining Greek citizenship involves living in Greece for a minimum of 183 days annual over a 7-year period, as well as passing Greek language and culture tests and demonstrating a connection to the country, which can easily be proven by the time lived in the country. So when you compare it to Portugal, which I guess is your question, in Portugal there is no need to stay half the year. The Portuguese test that you need to pass is 𝐼𝐶2, is quite basic. So yes, it's not as easy to obtain Greek citizenship as it is to obtain Portuguese citizenship. It's not impossible, right? But for that, the investor needs to live in Greece. If you live in Greece, you will pass the Greek test and you will have, it will be easier to pass the Greek test and the cultural test because you've been living there, right? So one thing leads to the other. If you're interested in living in Greece, I would say that it should be quite easy to get the passport.
Okay, thank you, Ines. So thank you everyone for attending the webinar today. And a big thank to our guest speakers who have helped us out in answering a lot of questions, and it's tough questions. Partners and investors, after the webinar, please contact us if you have any other concern or just simply want to take a look at a set of Mercan contract. Thank you everyone. Again, thank you the guest speakers. I hope everyone enjoys your day or have a good sleep tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.